Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to another video. So in today's video we are going to creating broad application using PHP, MySQL and AJAX. So this is some kind of a small application which we will be creating in this tutorial. Before going to the development phase, I just want to give you a short demo how this application works. So you can see we have our application. What I can do here, I can insert the data. So let me insert some dummy data. And when I click insert, you can see the data has been inserted without refreshing page. But if I refresh the page, it is still there because it is stored in the database. We can also delete this row, so I'm going to delete this row. You can see the row has been removed. Now let me add some data again. So we have our data. If I try to click on any cell, it is not editable, but if I click the edit button, you can see we can edit any row. So let me just add some data. And when I submit, you can see the data has been updated. If we refresh, the data is still there. So before wasting more time, let's dive in. Let me close my browser. We have to install XAMPP server. I have already installed. So let me open. And Apache and MySQL is already running. So let's go to htdocs. I have already created a project folder. Let me open. Now we have to open this in VS Code. You can see we have opened the project in VS Code. Now we have to create index.php file. Let's create HTML skeleton and let's give it a title. The title will be AJAX CRUD with PHP and MySQL. Now let's get into the body. Inside body we need container. Inside container we need title. And let's add h1. So our title will be CRUD operation using AJAX with PHP. Now let's see this in a browser and you can see we have our title. After that we need another div. Let's give it ID, and inside that div we need another div, and that will be text heading. That will be add product. Now after that we need table. Let's remove the class and add some cell padding. That will be 10 and cell spacing. That will be 1. Now we have to show our table headings. So let me remove table data and add table heading. Let's make it strong and let's add name. We need 3 more, and for that will be code. The third one will be description and the fourth one will be price. Now we have to add some styling so we can show our price at the right side. So let me add text align and that will be right. Now save this and see this in a browser and you can see we have our headings. Now we need another row, and inside that row we will be showing our table data. Let's add a content editable so we can make this cell editable, and that will be true. We also need ID, so let me add the ID here, and that will be product name. Now we need 3 more, and this one will be product code, product description and the product price. Now let me copy the styling and let's add the styling to the price. So we have our table data. Now what we have to do, we have to create insert button so we can click on that button and it will insert the data. So let's create that button, save. and action. Now let's test this out, and you can see we have our cells and we have our button. Let's get back. Now we need another div, and for that we have to copy this div and let's paste here. We have to change the ID, that will be list product. In this div we will be showing our product details, and let's add the ID here for the AJAX response so we can show our data in the body. And let's remove the content editable because we don't need that for now. And let's remove the insert button. We have to add this table inside container because we missed the div. You can see the container div ends here, so let me copy and let me paste here so we can add those table inside the container. Now let's check this out in a browser. We have the above table, we have the below table. Let me fix this title. Let's remove the add and add the products list. Save it and we are good to go. The next thing, we have to create another table heading, make it strong so we can show our action buttons in this column. Let's add the table data here. Inside table data we need buttons. Let's give it a class, edit button and button success. Inside button we need an icon. I'm using font awesome and that will be pencil. Now we need 3 more buttons, and let's change the classes here. The second one will be save, third one will be cancel, and the last one will be delete. Now let's change the icons here. This one will be check, times, and trash. Let's save it and let's test. You can see the icon is not showing because we didn't add the font awesome CDN. So let's add that. I have already copied, so let me paste here, and you can see we have font awesome version 4.7. Let's refresh and the icon is there. So let's get back. We have added the font awesome. It's time to add style.css. Let's make it a directory, asset, and let's add the directory here, asset. Inside that we need style.css. So here we will be adding our CSS. Alright, I'm gonna fast forward this section in order to make a video short. So we have container style here. Let's test this out. And we have beautiful container. Now let's add title. Add some style to the table. This is the add product table. Now let's check this again. So we have our above table. Now it's time to add style for the list product. And that's looking good. Now it's time to add some style for the button and the headings. Alright, now we have to add styling to the below buttons. So let's get back. And we have warning button. Let's refresh. Alright, so we didn't change the class in the index file, so let's do that. So we have to change the cancel button and let's change the delete button and refresh. You can see we have different colors. Alright, now let's hide these buttons. For now we will show those buttons using JavaScript. So let's add some styling to those buttons. Let's add style, and that will be display none. Let's copy and add for the danger as well. Now let's make this format and let's refresh. You can see the button has been hidden. So we are done for the HTML CSS part. Now we have to add PHP code. So let's get back. So let's create PHP file dbcontroller.php. Alright, inside that we need to create PHP tag, and let's create a class dbcontroller. Now we have to create some private variables, and that will be host. It will be localhost. We are creating this variable for connecting our database. So the second one will be user, and that will be root. Third one will be password, and that will be empty, and database name. Let's make this CRUD, and let's remove this one and make this connection. So we can pass the database connection to this variable. Now we have to create a constructor function. So let's create construct, and inside that we need this variable and assign that to this function. So we have assigned the connect db function to the connection variable. So let's create connect db function. Now inside that we need connection variable and assign that to mysqli underscore connect. This function is used to connect our database to our PHP code. So the first one will be the host. Let's create the others. This one will be user, password, and the database name. Alright, now we have to return this. Alright, so we have our variables, we have our constructor function and connect db function. So we have to test this out. So let's create an instance using new keyword, and that will be the same db controller. Now let's print r and pass the db. Save it and let's test this out in a browser. If we go to that file, and you can see we have unknown database because we didn't create that, so we have to create the database in PHP MyAdmin, and we need CRUD database. So let's create that CRUD and create for the table. I have already created SQL, so let me paste here. So we are creating a table, and let's send this query to PHP MyAdmin, and you can see that table has been created. If we go to the structure, this is the structure of the table. Now let's get back, and you can see our database is connected and we are getting the values from database. Let's remove this, and now we have to create a function which reads the data from the database. So let's create read data. Inside that we need to pass the query. Now inside this function we need result variable and assign that to mysqli underscore query. This function need a connection. Let's pass the connection and the SQL query. Pass the query variable. Now after that we need a while loop, so we can loop through each row. Let's pass the row and let's get the row associative. This function will return an associative array. Let me fix this result. Here we need result set array and assign the rows. Here we need if statement so we can check if the array is not empty. Now we have to return the result set variable. Alright, so our function is ready. Now we have to fetch data from the database. For that we have to go to index and we will be writing our PHP at the top. Let's create PHP opening and closing tag. Inside that we have to connect that file and the file name is db controller. Now after that we need to create instance and assign that to the db handle. So we have created our instance and passed to the db handle. Now the next thing we have to create SQL. So let's create SQL variable and assign that to the query. And the query will be select all from table product. So we are selecting the rows from the table. Now we need product result and assign that to db handle and let's fetch the read data function. And in this function we will be sending SQL. So our function is ready. You can see we are sending the SQL and it will return us the data and that will assign to the product result. So let's check this out if the data is coming or not. Let's see this in a browser. Let's get back and the data is not showing because we didn't insert anything in table. So let's insert that something here and let's add the price and let's go. So if we check you can see data is coming, so we have to fetch this in below table. We have to show here. So let's get back. Now we have to create PHP opening and closing tag and here we have to write if, so we can check if the data is not empty. Now inside that we need for each loop and let's pass the product result and let's change the key to the K and value to the V. Now we have to fetch the data. So I'm gonna copy these brackets and let's paste here because we will be showing each row in the table row. So let me paste here. Alright. Now the next thing we have to add PHP opening and closing tag here and let's echo product result and the key and its value which is associative array so we can get by index product name. Now we have to paste here and here. Let's change the names. This one will be product description and the last one will be product price. So let's see this again and you can see the data is showing. Let me remove this array. Alright, so we are fetching the data. Now we have to add PHP code for insert so we can show our data instantly here. So let's create that